Yo, 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 what's really good? What's really hood? Welcome to the Jamani Show. Welcome to the Jamani Show. It's your boy Jay. I got a quick question for y'all, fam. Yo, did Mendeecees allegedly beat up Jim Jones back in the days in Harlem? Did Mendeecees allegedly beat up Jim Jones in Harlem back in the days? Give me y'all perspective, man. Keep it a $1.50. Tell me how y'all feel about that. One.
Yendi! Hi, Yendi. Yo,
This is my husband.
no, don't touch me. Tell your husband, don't touch me.
Wait, let me introduce. I don't know. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Smack me. Don't touch me, nigga. Give me a hug. Don't talk that to. Give me a hug.
Oh, listen.
Why you had
Why
to
you jump, you Flip?
I just want to talk to Yendi.
See, you do this again. Come on, Flip.
I'm gonna touch
Flip. You're playing with the hands and you yelling. Come on.
Why you had them jump me?
I didn't have nobody jump you.
So why didn't touch me for?
You touched me. You smacked my hand.
Alright, so what, man? I give me a hug, man.
Come on, Flip.
No,
Come on. See,
don't
stop.
touch me.
Flip,
Don't touch me. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. You touch me again. Touch me again.
When reality TV star Mendeecees Harris got into a furious altercation with an enraged fan, tensions escalated in a way that nobody could have anticipated. What began as a normal appearance swiftly descended into mayhem. Allegations were made, voices were raised, and everyone was left in amazement by the startling disclosures. According to witnesses, Mendy was pushed to the limit by the fans' agenda, which he claimed went beyond simple inquiries. Is there more to this story than meets the eye? Or might this dramatic altercation endanger his reputation? The drama you're about to discover will leave you stunned. So pay attention. Mendeecees Harris, a man accustomed to public appearances and fan interactions, was expected to have a routine day. However, what transpired at a meet and greet in Atlanta swiftly became a spectacle that astounded security, fans, and even Mendy himself. A.S. Mendy took the stage. The room was alive with excitement from the eager fans waiting to see the love and hip-hop star. Posing for selfies, signing autographs, and responding to lighthearted queries, he welcomed the audience with his trademark charm. However, just when everything appeared to be proceeding smoothly, the peace was broken by one fan in particular, a woman in the front row, wearing a bright red jacket that set her apart from the others, raised her hand to speak. That was when the drama started. At first, nobody thought anything was out of the ordinary.
Yendi! Hi, Yendi.
This is my husband.
Don't touch me. Tell your husband, don't touch me.
Wait, let me introduce. I don't know. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I don't know.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Smack me. Don't touch me, nigga. Give me a hug. Don't talk that to. Give me a hug.
Mendeecees nodded for her to continue after giving her a kind grin. She started, her voice wavering a little. I'm a tremendous admirer, but I think everyone here deserves an answer to this question. Everyone's attention was drawn to her change in tone. Sensing the shift in the atmosphere, Mendeecees arched an eyebrow but kept his cool. What do you want to know? He asked cautiously with a smile after a brief pause. The woman exclaimed, "Why do you keep hiding the truth about your family?" The crowd fell silent. Mendeecees and Yandy's former foster daughter, Infinity, was mentioned, a delicate subject that had been discussed on the internet for months. While some supporters defended Mendy, claiming the situation was a private family matter, others criticized him for how he handled it. However, nobody anticipated that a fan would publicly and personally confront him. Mendy maintained his composure despite a slight darkening of his face. He responded in a steady but irritated tone, "I don't know what you're talking about." The fan had no intention of backing down. "You know exactly what I mean," she retorted, raising her voice. "You've spent too much time avoiding the questions. We all watched the show. We all witnessed Infinity's pain. Don't you think she deserves better?" There was an audible gasp from the audience as their enthusiasm gave way to anxiety. Some fans began murmuring to one another, while others took out their phones to record the unfolding drama. A murmur swept through the crowd. Mendy shot a quick glance at security, who were already on high alert, but waved them away with his palm. "First of all, you don't know the whole story," he stated in a firmer tone. "It's not just what you see on TV. No one needs an explanation about my family." However, the fan wasn't finished. "When you go to sleep at night, Do you tell yourself that? She yelled, her words burning with accusation. We've all seen enough to know the truth, and your actions speak louder than your words. You can't just ignore this and act like nothing happened. At this point, the audience was divided. While some cheered in support of Mendeecees, others applauded the fan's audacity. "Leave him alone," a woman shouted from the back. "You have no idea what he's been through." Mendy, now visibly irritated, stepped closer to the edge of the stage and locked eyes with the fan. His voice rose slightly as he continued, "You've got a lot of nerve coming here and disrespecting me like that. If you were a real fan, you'd understand that family matters aren't for public entertainment." The fan, however, remained unfazed. With an unwavering voice, she fired back, "Respect is earned, not demanded. And a long time ago, you lost mine." As the tension between Mendeecees and the fan escalated, the audience erupted into a mix of applause and cheers. Security eventually stepped in and asked the fan to leave. However, she refused to back down, insisting that she had the right to ask her question. To everyone's surprise, Mendeecees suddenly exclaimed, "Let her stay." His jaw was clenched, and his tone was fierce. "Let's talk, since she's that desperate for answers. But you better be prepared for the truth." Unwavering in her defiance, the fan crossed her arms. "That's all I've ever wanted," she declared. It became evident that this altercation was far from over. The audience listened intently to every word. The room was tense, accusations were flying, and emotions were running high. Everyone was curious to see what would happen next, as what had begun as a straightforward meet and greet had now devolved into an emotionally charged standoff. Mendeecees Harris stood on stage, staring at the furious fan who had just accused him of neglecting Infinity. The tension in the audience was palpable. A sea of murmurs and wide-eyed expressions replaced the cheers and laughter that had once filled the gathering. Security guards stood by, uncertain whether to step in or let the event unfold. But Mendeecees had already made up his mind. This debate was going to happen on his terms. Mendy started, holding the microphone firmly. "All right." The audience fell silent as he spoke in a cool, collected tone. "Because you've seen a few love and hip-hop episodes, you think you know everything? How would you feel if your private life, your hardships, your mistakes, were publicly displayed for everyone to see?" The fan remained still. "That's the cost of being famous," she shot back. "You chose this life. Now stop playing the victim." Mendy shook his head and laughed bitterly. "The cost of notoriety. You think this is about that? You have no idea how much my family has endured. Infinity was family, not just a plot point. Don't you dare stand there and pretend you know everything, even when I made mistakes." The fan started to reply, but Mendy interrupted her with a raised voice. "You want to talk about respect? Where is your respect for people's growth, for learning, for trying to make things right? Or isn't that part of your narrow stories?" Despite murmurs of agreement from the crowd, the fan refused to back down. "Why does it still feel like you're avoiding the truth if you've come so far?" she retaliated. "When Infinity needed you, why didn't you stand up for her more? Everyone saw you leave her hanging." The room was now filled with tangible tension. Spectators shifted in their seats, glancing anxiously at one another. Some were clearly uncomfortable, while others were transfixed by their phones, providing live commentary and streaming the exchange. Suddenly, a young man in a hoodie, a fan in the audience, shouted, "Hey, let him speak. You have no idea what it's like to walk in his shoes." However, another woman added, "She has a point. He never really addressed what happened. We all have the same question." The crowd's divide only heightened the tension. Mendy inhaled deeply, attempting to regain his composure. He spoke in a quieter but no less passionate tone. "Look, what happened with Infinity was complicated. It wasn't just about Yandy or me, it was about what was best for her. Doing the right thing doesn't always look good to other people. But ultimately, I know I took the necessary actions to keep my family safe." The fan laughed. "Keep your family safe? Or protect yourself? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you took the easy way out." Mendy's face grew stern. "The easy way?" he repeated, his tone dripping with irony. "You think making decisions like that is easy? Do you know what it's like to lose someone you love because, in your heart, you know it's the only way to keep everyone safe? You don't know me, and you definitely don't know my family. Once again, the audience erupted into a mix of applause and cheers. Before the situation could escalate further, a voice called out from backstage. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Enough. All heads turned as Yandy Smith-Harris entered the spotlight. She immediately commanded attention, exuding the powerful matriarchal presence fans had come to admire. Wearing a sleek black jumpsuit and clicking confidently across the stage in her heels, she approached Mendy and Yandy placed a gentle hand on Mendy's arm. "Let me take care of this," she muttered after hesitating. Mendy handed her the microphone. Yandy turned to face the fan, who stood her ground with arms folded in a controlled and assertive tone. Yandy said, "I don't know who you are, but I can tell you're passionate about this, and I respect that. But what are you doing right now? Trying to put us on blast? Calling us out in front of a crowd? You don't get answers that way." The fan's expression wavered slightly, but she quickly regained her composure. "So how do I get answers?" she asked, her voice firmer but quieter now. "Because you both act like this isn't a big deal every time it comes up. But it is a big deal. You brought Infinity into your lives and then pushed her out. Don't you think the supporters deserve to know why?" Yandy's eyes softened, and for a moment, she seemed on the verge of breaking. However, she quickly regained her poise, to the surprise of everyone, including Mendy. "You're right. It is a big deal," she acknowledged. "And you're not alone in feeling hurt or confused by how things played out. The problem is, you're only seeing a small part of the picture. This story is far more complex than what you've read online or seen on TV. Maybe one day, we'll share it all. But not like this, not on your terms." The fan blinked, clearly surprised the audience had grown silent. Listening intently to Yandy's every word, Yandy continued in a firm voice, "This is our family. Even though we've shared so much of our personal lives with the world, some things are too intimate to be put on display for entertainment. Infinity was, and still is, someone we hold in the highest regard. Every decision we made was because we believed it was necessary for her at the time. That is our truth, whether others agree with it or not." The fan hesitated, and for the first time, she seemed uncertain. Yandy added, "I appreciate you caring enough to ask. I really do. But you have to trust that we're doing our best. If you want to support us, let us handle things the way we need to." A brief silence filled the room before the audience started to clap. It began with a few spectators in the front row and quickly spread across the auditorium. The fan in the red jacket appeared to soften as well. Though her expression remained unreadable, as the cheering intensified, Yandy handed the microphone back to Mendy, who nodded silently in agreement. Although the immediate tension had subsided, it was clear the conflict was far from resolved. The fan in the red jacket still stood with her arms crossed. Though her initial anger had faded, the atmosphere in the room had shifted. The crowd was no longer divided, but a lingering sense of discomfort remained, like they had just witnessed something far more personal than they had anticipated. Yandy, still standing next to Mendy, looked at the fan and spoke in a softer tone. "We're not perfect," she admitted. "We've made mistakes. But everything we've done has been out of love. That's all I have to say." The fan paused, clearly torn between continuing the argument or letting it go. She sighed, then took a step back, allowing the tension to ease slightly. After what felt like an eternity, she murmured under her breath, but loud enough for the audience to hear, "I just hope you mean that." Mendy arched his brows, as if about to respond, but Yandy gently squeezed his arm, signaling for him to let it go. Instead, Mendy turned his attention to the rest of the audience. In a steadier tone, he said, "We came here today to connect with y'all, and I understand people have questions. People want answers. But there's a way to ask without turning it into a spectacle. Just like you, we're human." The audience responded with a mix of applause and murmurs, but the earlier tension had noticeably eased. Some supporters exchanged glances, still processing what had just happened, while others clapped in support. Then, a fan in the center of the room called out, "We love you, Mendy." The comment acted like a reset button. Mendy nodded with a small smile. "I love y'all too. That's why I'm here." However, Before the atmosphere could fully settle, a fresh voice cut through the crowd. All right, does that mean you'll never talk about infinity again? A young man wearing a baseball cap stood holding out his phone. Recording, Mendy smirked slightly, while Yandy sighed audibly and shook her head. Even after the confrontation with the first fan had ended, it was clear the questions weren't going away anytime soon. Yandy leaned into the microphone. A crowd is gathered outside the venue. Fans are talking excitedly, some holding up their phones. Yo, I can't believe Mendeecees is here tonight. This show is about to be legendary, says one fan. Another responds, man, I heard some drama went down earlier. Somebody got real mad at him. The camera pans to a figure stepping out of a black SUV. Mendeecees Harris, dressed in a sleek outfit, exits the vehicle. Security flanks him. Inside the venue, backstage, Mendeecees is talking to his crew, adjusting his outfit before going on stage. All right, you ready? This crowd is hyped tonight, his manager asks. Mendeecees nods. Always, man. Let's give them a show they won't forget. A commotion is heard near the side entrance. A furious fan, Jason, is arguing with security. Nah, man, I gotta talk to Mendeecees. He needs to hear me out. Jason yells. Calm down, sir. You can't just barge in like this, a security guard warns. Noticing the chaos, Mendeecees walks over. What's going on, he asks. Jason turns, his face filled with anger. You really gonna act like you don't know me? You did my brother dirty, man. He looked up to you. Mendeecees looks confused. Your brother? Who you talking about? Jason answers. Terrence. You promised him a shot, man. You said you'd help him get his music out. Then you ghosted him like he was nothing. Mendeecees takes a deep breath. Hold up. I meet a lot of people, man. I never promise anything I can't follow through on. What happened exactly? Jason pulls out his phone, showing messages. He kept hitting you up. You said you'd get him in the studio, and then nothing. He was devastated, bro. He thought you believed in him. Damn. Look, I never meant to let anyone down. But the industry moves fast, and I can't respond to every single message. I didn't mean no disrespect, Mendeecees replies. Jason clenches his fists. Nah, man. That ain't right. You don't understand how much this meant to him. He ain't been the same since. Mendeecees nods, understanding. I hear you, and I respect that. Tell you what, get him on a call right now. Let's talk. Jason hesitates, then dials his brother. The phone rings. Yo, what's up? Terrence answers on speakerphone. Yo, Terrence, it's Mendeecees. I heard I let you down, man, and I want to